Step 1, gather all the things you need to make your terrarium. And step 2, have fun with it. Note to self, mini moss poles are very difficult to make. I'm going to stick with trying to make the full-size ones. Hi friends! Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Plant Fairy Florida. It's so great to have you along for this journey of all my different plant things. Today, I'm super excited. Super excited to be building my first terrarium. I've never done this before, watched a handful of videos, but I'm just so excited to do it. So I figured I would bring you guys along, tell you some things that I've learned from some videos and talking to different people, as well as just kind of my own little creation. So I'm so excited. Thank you for just being a part of my journey. If you're new here, welcome. If you could subscribe, like, comment, all of those great things, that really helps me out. And I just love connecting with people. So if you comment, love to chit chat with you. I just love being able to connect with different plant people through my social medias. So yeah, so I used this Amazon gift card that I had for my birthday and bought a few things. So I have here one of my favorite pieces. This is a plant fairy, and she's got a book, and there's some squirrels and different things like that. So let me get the lighting. I thought that she looked a little bit like me. So this is my plant fairy to represent myself in my terrarium. Terrarium, I use these interchangeably for some weird reason. I got this beautiful thing. It has this arm is what it's called that props open the door. So got this off of Amazon. It's really heavy duty, so I like that about it. It is not waterproof. If you are looking for one that is waterproof, so just keep that in mind. So here I have some different rocks. These are some little ones. This is some big ones that I will use. These came from my patio. So that was just something I'm gonna use. I've got, these are some leftover, just regular black pebbles that I had. I bought this at Walmart for about $2. This is some forest moss, and this is some sphagnum moss that I have left over. Set those over there. I've got a few different size pots in case I need to move some things around. The main driver of this was this Raphidophora crypta? I think it's actually Raphidophora, but I always miss that syllable. Something like that. This came from Wild Roots, and I don't know if it happened in the transit of it coming to my house after I purchased it, or if it came to me like that, but it was broken off. And so that's why it's not climbing up this board. It needs to be more humid than I've been able to give it just sitting here. So I wanted to get something to make it more, what's the word? Make it more. So I've kind of been on a hunt for something to get this, the humidity that it needs to really do well. So that's why I was like, well, let me get a terrarium and then make it my little fairy garden, because I've been wanting a fairy garden, so why not do both at one time? So I picked up a few like pixie plants. So I've got this little carnivorous plant. I haven't had a carnivorous plant since I was a kid, so I'm excited about this. I will have to take it out every now and again so that it can get the food that it needs. So I might put it in a black pot. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then let's see, I got this from, this is a red ripple peperomia from Fancy Plants in Lakeland. And then I picked up these 3 little pixie plants from my favorite plant shop, Full Grown Girl. And then I have a few other little random cuttings that I think I'm going to incorporate in there somehow. So I am excited to kind of see what I end up doing. So I'm just going to bring you guys along. I'll probably do some like time lapse so that you're not just seeing the drawn out process, as well as a little bit of talking points of, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I've learned. So let's get started. Okay, so the next part of this video is kind of more going to be a voiceover style, because I wanted you to be able to get close up and personal with the terrarium and be able to see everything I'm doing here. So first off, I personally have not had a problem with it, but I did do some reading and watch some videos, and apparently you can experience some molding if you put a direct layer of rocks on the bottom, because the soil won't always evaporate, or excuse me, the water won't always evaporate. So they recommend putting a kind of a false bottom where you first put the soil so that that soaks up any little bit of water that goes down to the bottom, and then rocks on top. So I started layering some of my soil that came from my compost in the bottom. My vision was that you would see rocks on the bottom layer, not so much the soil. So I kind of gently scooted the soil towards the center, leaving a little room for a layer of rocks. Now, it was very difficult to get my hand inside, so I made use of some of the things I had, like the chopsticks, and used that to adjust the soil where I wanted it to be. After doing that and getting a nice layer of soil, I went ahead and put I believe they're called lava rocks that generally are in a fish tank that I just happen to have. These were black, so they kind of look like soil, but yet they're not. So I just did a layering of those around and then covered the top of the soil with the lava rocks. I also repotted the Riverview so they would be in a smaller pot to fit better in the terrarium. The next thing I decided to do was make a mini moss pole for the Riverview. I actually have never made a moss pole using sphagnum moss before, even though I've been wanting to, so this was my first time. I just broke a chopstick into a piece that looked like it would fit well. I tied a piece of twine at the top, and then I started layering on the sphagnum moss that I had let soak in water for a few minutes, and then wrapped the twine around to hold the moss in place. Just tied another knot in, and then I stuck it into the soil, propping the plant against it, and then I cut off any extra string. Next, I poured some soil on top and arranged that around. That way I would have the layer of rocks, then the layer of soil. Next up was some of my forest moss. I just kind of arranged it around, played with different things to see what I liked. Then I just kept layering in moss, dirt, and different plants, and the chopsticks were very helpful in rearranging things. But I definitely say don't be afraid to try different things. I definitely took some of the items out, put them back in a few times, and rearranged numerous times just trying to decide what I liked and what I thought fit the terrarium itself, as well as the different plants I had and the little extra things I put in. I definitely think that it's totally okay to experiment and play around with it and just have fun while you're doing it. I was so pleased with the outcome of it. I think that it looks amazing. I was super, super proud of how it turned out for my very first one. I think it looks great. I would maybe do pots a different color or use some type of sealant so that I could plant the plants directly in the soil. Just some ideas for next time. I don't know that I love the orangish terracotta pots sticking out. However, I'm super excited to see how well it does, and I will definitely be keeping you guys updated. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I would love to hear if you have made one or any of your experiences with one. Again, thank you so much for being a part of the Plant Fairy Florida community. I am so happy to have you along. Bye now.